Luke, how are you doing?
Good. I'm good. It's fight week, so
Fight
feeling.
week. Exciting and probably hungry too, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Luke Fernandez, thank you for taking the time, especially this last week. I know you got a lot going on, I'm sure, or just a lot of weight cutting and sweats you're getting in. But I wanted to have a talk with you a little bit about your upcoming fight this Saturday at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City for CFFC. It's CFFC 142. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about this upcoming fight and how you feel about your opponent.
I feel good. I had a great camp. Going into it, excited. Another opportunity to put on a show, so that's always fun and exciting. And yeah, I have a big opportunity with my opponent. I think he's got the experience. He's talented, so it's just another opportunity to make a statement and really show the world what I'm bringing to the cage.
Yeah, so you're fighting Christian Edwards, a Bellator veteran. I believe he's at Jackson Wink. I don't know if he still is, but how did you prepare differently for this fight?
I mean, every fight there's obviously little tweaks and details that you're going to focus on with certain opponents and their styles and stuff like that. But same mindset, same thing applies. This isn't my first time preparing for a 5 round fight, so fortunate for me, I feel comfortable doing that. So those hard long sparring days are uh, are kind of getting routine at this point when it comes to 5 6 rounds. So yeah, just applying the little details of my opponent, little tendencies and stuff to the game plan, and then other than that, it's just go and attack each training session and make sure we're recovering.
Now, what does winning this fight mean to you? Defending your belt.
I think this fight, you know, I guess it would make it more undeniable that I'm at the level that I'm at the level where I can get that call at any time. I think this is an opponent where you can't deny that he's got the experience. He's fought on the highest levels already. So I'm just excited to be able to test myself and uh, have a tough, durable opponent in front of me. So
And do you believe you're ready for the big jump up?
yes, I do. I think that the way I train and the people I train with is something that's definitely prepared me to make that jump.
That's kind of what I wanted to touch on next. What do you feel is, something that you do in your training that has prepared you for that next level up?
I think just focusing on all the details that go into a fight camp, and then really trying to execute certain things in the sparring that I'm trying to progress in. I think that's something that really makes you grow in the sport. And obviously, having training partners that are highly talented and that are pushing you, I think it's easy to get comfortable in the sport where you're going with the same training partners. Then, especially if you're the bigger fish in the pond or something like that. If you're not pushing yourself with sparring sessions and stuff, you're not going to grow in the sport. So fortunately for me, I have your husband that's been helping me, through my career and stuff. So Corey Anderson being uh, somebody that I train with definitely has progressed uh, my abilities and something I could pick his mind. Really grow on the little details of fighting.
That's something I noticed about you that I thought was a good sign is that you were willing to heed the advice of the veterans and come around and just soak it up. What would you say is like one of your biggest lessons you've taken away from the guys that have done it already, been there before?
That you're going to continue to learn the sport, even if you're a vet, even if you're a champion at the highest level. You have to be able to learn and be willing to understand that you don't know everything, and your style isn't set. You're not at a level where you're just gonna go into the fight with the same tools. You have to be progressing. And you have to be really looking to get better and just adapt to the training sessions.
Now you train at Dante Rivera's. How did you end up working with him?
Um, Actually, when I was working for my buddy's roofing company, it was a friend of a friend. They were together, and I guess my boss said at the time, I have a buddy that like is talking about wanting to fight, and this was right during COVID, around there. So I got a FaceTime late at night, and it was Dante Rivera, and he said, "I'll see you Monday." So
So
uh,
you've been with him from the start of your career.
yeah, I mean, I did some training beforehand. Here and there, I used to train. I mean, I obviously trained some hands with my dad, but nothing was serious. It was like once or twice a week. I was trying it out, seeing if I liked jujitsu, seeing if I liked MMA, and then fast forward to around 2020 is when I really pursued it. In the summer of 2020, I went to Dante Gym, and ever since then, it's been 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a pretty good stable coming up right now. What is it like training with fighters kind of coming up with you and being able to fight with them almost every time you fight, you guys are on the same card together.
I think that's something that like our team is definitely fortunate and blessed with is we're getting into fight camps. We're getting into fight camps together to fight on the same card, to do the whole process together, the weigh-ins, the night before the fight in the back room. It's definitely a cool feeling. It definitely makes the energy, just it's more of a team feeling, and it definitely pushes you to work harder during those training sessions and the camp. The energy is just good, so definitely fortunate.
Now, is there anyone that you've like learned a lot from training with?
I mean, other than Corey, I mean, I've trained with I've trained with a lot of high level guys, but I think the thing that I would say I learned the most is like learning with my stablemates, like Nick Galante, Eric Nolan, learning at the same time as those guys. I feel like we all are picking up on little things, and then we're kind of like always, whether we're texting or we're at the gym talking, we're always like sharing what we've learned with each other. So I think that's it's one of those things where you're constantly growing and taking different little pieces from everybody, and I think that's a cool thing when you're coming up with guys that are all trying to do the same thing.
And now your dad obviously is always a big part of your camps, your life. He coaches you. What is that like working with your father?
I mean, I'm blessed to have my dad in my corner, and like you said, I'm with him often, and we're always constantly going over different things. And even if we're just watching fights, like on a weekend, it turns into a training session. It turns into like, film and stuff where we're breaking things down and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where we're constantly working on little details to get better, but at the same time, I'm with my dad, so it's cool just to be hanging out and spending that time with him. So I'm definitely fortunate to have him in my corner. And I know that at the end of the day, he's doing everything from like the best place of his heart. So it's because he cares. And that's why I got to take everything that he says with that in mind and just really, use everything that he gives me and move forward with it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys seem like a very family oriented people, which is good. And he seems like a great guy. Do you guys ever butt heads or is it easy for you to get past your differences?
Yeah, I mean, like any other father and son, we always, we'll go back and forth sometimes. I definitely give him some attitude sometimes just because we're together a
Oh,
lot.
you're his kid.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I just think that at the end of the day, like I said, we both know that we're doing it out of a place of love. So, and like you said, we're definitely a family oriented group over here. So, I'm definitely happy with the progress we've made, and yeah, it's definitely a good experience to have him in my corner and behind the scenes and just spend that time with him and get better.
Now, your girlfriend is also a fighter, boxer, Leanna Cruz. What is that like having a partner that does the same thing you do?
I think it's been super beneficial for both of us. We both understand what goes into a fight camp and this game. So for me, I mean, I've been blessed with. She's always helping me with food and meals, and reminding me that I need to take my recovery seriously and stuff like that. Where all the boxes are getting checked, and if I'm not mentally on like the right frequency, or I'm doing something that I shouldn't be in the sense of like spending too much time on the phone or something like that, she'll remind me like, hey, let's shut it down, let's get our rest. Or just like the motivation. She's also super big with me seeing her do it on the other end is just a constant reminder to like we're both in it in the same reason, and it's motivating to see. So it's been nothing but beneficial. I would say for sure.
Yeah, well, it's not your average lifestyle. It's hard to find a partner that's supportive and understands, the commitment it takes. So
Yeah.
obviously her doing that makes it easy. Do you have a hard time watching her fight?
I mean, I get nervous for sure when I watch. Not in the sense of I don't believe in her ability. I think she's the most talented female boxer on the planet, but it's just the fact of I have no control over any like I can control my outcome, but anyone that I care about when they're fighting, it's always a nerve wracking experience, and yeah, but I'm always confident in her ability and the fact that she's gonna get the job done. I see it in the behind the scenes. I know how hard she trains, and but yeah, like anyone, if you care about
Yeah.
them fight, it's definitely a little nerve wracking.
And how is she with you? I mean, MMA is a little different than boxing.
I would say it's probably a similar experience for her. She's always saying that like the energy is pretty crazy going into the fight and stuff. So I would imagine it's the same thing on her end where she wishes she could be throwing punches and stuff too. But
It's a interesting life. Not everyone gets to see their partner like potentially get hurt, It's
yeah,
not a good feeling. It doesn't have anything to do with whether you believe in them or not, but it's just a
yeah.
risk. It's a risky lifestyle. So, but she gets it, which is amazing. Now, what do you think differentiates you from other heavyweights on the scene right now?
I think
Or
my
light heavyweights, I'm sorry.
it's okay. I think my ability to learn one is a big part of my game. I think that differentiates me against other guys is I'm constantly adapting, and I think I'm still just barely grown in the sport in the sense of my ability. So I think that that's one thing, and also I think that I'm pretty athletic. Uh,
Mhm.
so I try to use that to my advantage too. So putting those two things together and just constantly adapting, I think that's going to be my biggest weapon.
Okay. And how do you feel about the current state of the light heavyweight division in the UFC?
Um, I think that they're starting to get some more guys in the division, but it's still a thin division. It's definitely one of the least populated divisions in the sport right now. So I think that just growing and like progressing each fight is going to give me that opportunity to step into that sphere. So
And do you have fighters that you kind of followed coming up or idolized coming up?
I mean, yeah, I've been watching fighting for forever. So there's been a lot of guys that I love to watch. Growing up. Um, right now, do I have any fighters that I mean, watching the whole rise of Alex Pereira was cool. I think a guy like him coming into the sport and then being willing to fight so often and just like taking risks and jumping divisions. I think that was super cool to see, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see that type of champion where he's constantly active, constantly fighting is going to be happening again anytime soon. But also, I think that the UFC right now overall is just like it's in a cool space where you're seeing a lot of champions kind of like test their test themselves by like going up a division after they're champion or something like that and trying to be double champ and stuff. So I think that makes for some interesting fights in the UFC. So I've been definitely interested in watching like guys like Ilya Taporia. I think his style is super super cool to watch. I think his boxing is just like art. So I
Hmm.
thoroughly enjoy watching him. I try to take from fighters, whether they're in my division or not. I try to take from everyone. I think that you can learn from the smallest to the biggest guys in the sport.
Hmm. So, what can we expect from you Saturday?
Um, I like to say poetry in motion and just calculated chaos. I think I'm violent, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you got to be calculated. You got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's, and I think you're gonna see some fireworks and expect to have another. Just I'm trying to have another flawless victory. I expect to fight. I expect I'm ready to go 5 rounds. So it's one of those things where I'm just excited to be able to get in there and put on a show.
Well, you have a great platform for it with CFFC being local and great production on Fight Pass. So the eyes are on you. We'll be watching you. I might be going, hopefully, but best of luck. Thank you for taking the time. And I think we'll see some big things for you shortly.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.